The stars looked peaceful from the bridge of the Defiant, but Captain Minu knew better. He had been in space long enough to know that peace was just the quiet between storms. His ship cut through the darkness of the outer rim, far from the civilized sectors where the Galactic Council pretended to keep order. Minu watched the scanner displays with tired eyes. 3 months of surveying dead rocks and empty space. 3 months of finding nothing worth reporting back to Earth Command. But that was fine. Out here in the Forbidden Zones, nothing was exactly what they wanted to find. "Captain, we have a problem," said from the tactical station. Her voice was calm, but Minu heard the edge in it. Never panicked, which meant whatever she found was serious. "Show me," Minu said. The main screen flickered and displayed a fleet of ships approaching from the galactic core. 40 vessels, maybe more. Their signatures matched mercenary designs from a dozen different species, not pirates looking for easy cargo. This was a military formation. "They are heading straight for the human colonies," said. "ETA 48 hours at current speed." Minu felt ice in his stomach. The human colonies were lightly defended. Most of Earth's military stayed close to the home system. The outer rim settlements had basic defenses, but nothing that could stop a fleet that size. "Can we outrun them?" he asked. "No, sir, they are faster than us." Fingers moved across her console. "I am detecting weapon signatures, heavy plasma cannons, mass drivers, and—" "Wait," she paused. "Captain, they are carrying extinction-level weapons, bioweapons, atmospheric burners." The bridge went silent. Everyone understood what that meant. This was not a raid. This was extermination. "Get me Earth Command," Minu ordered. "Full priority." "Trying, sir, but the jamming is intense. They have blocked all long-range communications." Minu stood up from his chair. "Then we warn the colonies ourselves. Plot an intercept course. If we can slow them down even a little, it might give people time to evacuate." "Sir, we are one ship against 40, Lieutenant said from the weapons station. "I know the math, Lieutenant," Minu said quietly. "But those are our people down there, our families. We do not leave them to die without a fight." The crew knew their captain. They had served with him for 3 years. They knew he meant every word. One by one, they nodded and turned back to their stations. Began plotting the course when her console erupted with new warnings. "Captain, Second Fleet detected. Same heading, different vector. They are—" "Oh no." "Report," Minu snapped. "They are heading for the void sectors, for space." That made Minu pause. They were the only species humans had never fought, not because they were friends. Nobody was friends with the reptilian warriors were fierce beyond measure, and they never forgot an insult. The Galactic Council had quarantined them just like they quarantined humanity. Too dangerous, too unpredictable, too unwilling to bow. "Someone is hitting both of us at the same time," said. "This is coordinated. The Council." "The Council wants us both gone," Minu finished. "They have been afraid of us for decades. Looks like they finally decided to do something about it." He sat back in his chair and thought hard. The Defiant could not stop 40 ships. They could barely scratch them. But maybe they did not have to stop them alone. "Change of plans," Minu said. "Can you find the fleet that is supposed to be patrolling this sector?" Sir looked confused. "They are being attacked too. They do not know it yet, just like our colonies do not know. If we warn them—" Minu let the thought hang. "They might help us, sir. They are not exactly friendly." "No, but they hate the Council more than they hate us. And right now, the enemy of my enemy might be useful." Hesitated for only a moment before her fingers flew across the controls. "Found them. One warship, heavy class. Designation translates to Fang of Stars. They are 3 hours away at maximum burn." "Plot a course, and someone figure out how to say we need to talk in." The next 3 hours were the longest of Minu's life. They pushed the Defiant's engines past safety limits. The ship shook and groaned, but she held together. Behind them, the mercenary fleet followed like a slow-moving death sentence. Ahead, the warship appeared on their screens. It was massive, twice the size of the Defiant, covered in armor plating and weapon ports. It looked like something designed by someone who only understood violence. "They have locked weapons on us," reported. "Multiple targeting solutions." "Open a channel. All frequencies," Minyu ordered. The screen flickered and showed the bridge of the ship. The creatures there were tall and covered in dark scales. Their eyes glowed yellow in the dim light. One of them stepped forward, clearly the leader. He was bigger than the others, with scars across his face and arms. "I am," the said in rough but understandable human language. "You are in territory. You will die now." "I am Captain Minyu of the human ship Defiant," Minyu said calmly. "I am here to tell you that you are about to die too." His eyes narrowed. "Explain quickly." Minyu transmitted the data about the mercenary fleets. 2 fleets, one heading for your colonies, one heading for ours. Extinction weapons, coordinated attack. The Galactic Council wants both our species dead. The studied the data. His clawed hand tightened on his command throne. Another, smaller and faster-looking, leaned close and whispered something. The nodded. "This data is real," said. This is my bond sister and scout leader. Why do you bring this to us?" "Because 40 ships are more than I can fight alone," Minyu said honestly. "And 40 more are more than you can fight alone. But together, maybe we have a chance." Bared his teeth. It might have been a smile, it might have been a threat. "Humans do not trust humans. The Council has forbidden contact between us for good reason. We are both too dangerous." "Yes," Minyu agreed. "Which is exactly why we should work together, just this once. After we survive, we can go back to avoiding each other." Whispered something else too, the thought for a long moment. Behind him, Minyu could see the rest of his crew watching, waiting. Finally spoke. "The do not forget debts. If you fight beside us today, you will be owed a life debt. That is not given lightly." "I do not need debts," Minyu said. "I just need those fleets stopped." "Then we have an agreement, Captain Minyu. Send us your tactical data. We will plan together." The channel closed, let out a breath she had been holding. "Sir, did we just ally with the—" Minyu watched the warship on his screen. "Yes, and may whatever gods are listening help the galaxy, because when the Council finds out about this, they are going to panic." Behind them, the mercenary fleet drew closer. Ahead, an uncertain future waited. But for the first time since detecting the threat, Minyu felt something other than dread. He felt hope. The asteroid field ahead looked like a graveyard of dead worlds. Millions of rocks tumbled through space, some as small as a fist, others as large as moons. It was the perfect place to hide, and the perfect place to die if you made one wrong move. Minyu watched as the fang of stars maneuvered through the field with surprising grace for such a large vessel. They knew how to handle their ships. His own crew worked at their stations, sweat on their faces as they dodged the larger asteroids. "Status on the mercenary fleet?" Minyu asked. "They have split up," reported. 30 ships are still heading for our colonies, 10 are coming after us, ETA 20 minutes. "They want to finish us before we can warn anyone," Lieutenant said. "Let them try," Minyu said. "What are our options?" Brought up a tactical display. "The asteroid field gives us cover, but it limits our movement. The ship is powerful, but they fight in straight lines. Heavy weapons, frontal assault tactics, not good for close maneuvering." "And we are the opposite," Minyu said. "Fast, mobile, but light armor." An incoming transmission made everyone turn. His face appeared on the screen. "Human Captain, we have detected the enemy ships, 10 vessels. They are entering the asteroid field from 3 vectors, trying to surround us." "I see them," Minyu confirmed. "Your ship is too big to dodge effectively in here, but the Defiant can move between the asteroids easily." His eyes gleamed. "You have a plan." "The oldest plan in warfare. You be the hammer, we be the knife." The showed his teeth. This time Minyu was certain it was a smile. Like this plan, we will make them chase us. You strike when they are focused on our ship. Exactly, and try not to get killed. I would feel bad about bringing you into this. Do not die easily, Captain. Your concern is noted but unnecessary. The transmission ended. Minyu stood and addressed his crew. Everyone listen. We are about to fight alongside thee against a superior force. This is not how I planned our first contact with them, but here we are. Do your jobs, trust each other, and remember that we are not just fighting for our ship. We are fighting for our colonies, for our families. Sir, what if they betray us? A young ensign asked. Minyu considered the question. Then we die a little sooner than we would have anyway, but I do not think they will. They have their own code, their own honor. They know the Council wants them extinct just like us. Right now, we are on the same side. The first mercenary ship appeared from behind a large asteroid. Its weapons charged immediately. Minyu recognized the design. Heavy cruiser. Good shields, moderate weapons. Normally too much for the Defiant to handle alone. But they were not alone. All power to engines, Minyu ordered. Get us behind that asteroid cluster. Let them think we are running scared. The Defiant dove down, using the asteroids as cover. The mercenary ship followed, its commander probably thinking they had an easy kill ahead. Then the fang of stars appeared from above like an avalanche of metal and fury. The ship's main cannons fired. Pure white energy lanced through space and caught the mercenary cruiser's shields at full power. The shields held for exactly 2 seconds before collapsing. The next blast tore through the ship's hull and it exploded in a brilliant flash. One down, said with satisfaction. 9 to go, Minyu reminded her. Do not celebrate yet. 2 more mercenary ships appeared, firing missiles at the fang of stars. The ship's point defense systems activated, destroying most of the missiles. But a few got through, impacting against the heavy armor. The ship shook but kept coming, returning fire with devastating accuracy. Minyu saw his opening. Target the left ship's engine section. Get us in close. The Defiant shot forward at full speed. The mercenaries were so focused on the warship that they did not see the smaller human vessel until it was too late. Its weapons fired with surgical precision. The left mercenary ship's engines exploded, and it began tumbling out of control. Hit on target, reported. Good shooting. Now get us out of here before. The second mercenary ship turned all its weapons on the Defiant. Warning alarms screamed as plasma fire erupted around them. Shields at 60%, said, her voice tight. 40%, 20. The fang of stars slammed into the mercenary ship from the side, not with weapons, with its armored hull. The smaller ship crumpled like paper and spun away, atmosphere venting from a dozen breaches. His voice came over the comm. Do not forget their allies in battle, Captain. You are welcome. Thanks for the save, but we have 6 ships left and they are getting smarter. The remaining mercenaries had reorganized. They stopped chasing and formed a defensive formation, overlapping their shields. Minyu studied the display and swore quietly. This was going to be harder. Ideas? He asked his crew. They are protecting each other now, said. If we attack one, the others will shred us. An incoming message from the ship, but it was not. The smaller appeared on screen. Human Captain, I am Scout Leader. I have been studying your combat data. Your species fights with deception and misdirection, very different from methods. That is accurate, Minyu said carefully. Good, then I have an idea, but it requires you to trust us completely. Minyu looked at who shrugged. What choice did they have? Tell me your idea. 5 minutes later, the Defiant broadcasted a fake distress signal. The ship drifted toward the mercenary formation, venting atmosphere and showing power fluctuations. To anyone watching, it looked like they had taken critical damage. 3 mercenary ships broke formation, seeing easy prey. They approached the Defiant slowly, weapons charged and ready to finish the job. Minyu sat in his command chair, watching the enemy ships get closer. His crew was silent, waiting, trusting. "Wait for it," he whispered. "Wait." The mercenary ships were 50 meters away when the asteroids around them exploded. Not naturally. They had positioned small charges on key asteroids, creating a minefield that activated all at once. 2 mercenary ships were caught in the blasts and torn apart. The third survived, but its shields were down and its hull was breached. "Now," Minyu shouted. The Defiant's engines roared to life. The fake damage disappeared. Weapons that had been offline suddenly worked perfectly, fired everything they had at the damaged ship. It tried to maneuver, but the asteroid debris blocked its escape. The ship died in a cascade of explosions. "3 down," said, "3 to go." But the remaining mercenaries were retreating, trying to escape the asteroid field. Was not going to let that happen. The Fang of Stars pursued them like a predator chasing wounded prey. Minyu was about to order pursuit when Console erupted with warnings. "Captain, one of the mercenary ships we disabled is still active. It is turning toward us. Its weapon systems are charging." "How? We destroyed its engines." "It does not need engines for this, sir. It is charging its self-destruct core. If it detonates this close..." Minyu understood instantly. The blast would destroy the Defiant and probably damage the Fang of Stars as well. A suicide attack. "Can we get clear?" "Not in time. The asteroids are too dense. We would need 5 minutes to navigate out." "We have 2 minutes." The bridge went silent. Everyone knew what that meant. Then's voice came over the comm. "Human ship, I see your problem. Stand by." "What are you?" A small fighter launched from the Fang of Stars. It was incredibly fast, darting between asteroids with impossible precision. Was piloting it personally. She flew straight at the damaged mercenary ship. "That is suicide," Minyu shouted. "No, Captain, this is duty." Her voice was calm. "My people protect their worthy pack. You fought beside us today. That makes you pack. Will understand." The fighter latched onto the mercenary ship with magnetic clamps. Then both ships' engines fired at full power, dragging the doomed vessel away from the Defiant. They accelerated hard, pushing deeper into the asteroid field. "You still have time to eject," Minyu called. "No ejection pod in fighter craft," said simply. "But do not worry, human captain. I am very good at flying." The mercenary ship detonated. The explosion lit up the asteroid field like a new sun. Minyu shielded his eyes from the glare. When the sensors cleared, they showed debris. Lots of debris, but no fighter. The bridge crew stared at the screens in stunned silence. Minyu felt a weight in his chest. They had just allied with and already one of them had died saving his ship. Then gasped, "Sir, contact, small object moving fast coming from the explosion site." On the screen, a battered fighter emerged from behind an asteroid. Its hull was scorched and one wing was gone, but it was flying. Barely. His voice, strained but alive, came over the comm. "Told you I was good at flying, though I will need a new ship." Relief flooded through Minyu. "Get a tractor beam on that fighter. Bring her home." "Which home, sir?" asked quietly. Minyu understood the question. They had just saved them. Twice. And one of their warriors had risked death to protect the Defiant. "Bring her to our ship," Minyu decided. "And someone get medical ready. I want our doctors checking her over." "Sir, our doctors do not know biology." "Then they better learn fast." As the Defiant pulled the damaged fighter into its hangar, his face appeared on screen. His expression was unreadable. "Captain Minyu, you saved." "She saved us first," Minyu said. "It was the least we could do." Do not forget such things. You have done more than help us in battle today. You have shown honor. You have shown loyalty to Pack." "We are not Pack, we are allies, temporary allies." His teeth showed again. "No, Captain, you do not understand. When call someone pack, it is not temporary, it is forever. You and your crew are worthy pack now. That means what is ours is yours. Our strength is your strength." Minyu did not know what to say. He had come out here to warn thee of danger. He had made a desperate alliance to survive. But somehow, in the middle of a firefight, something had changed. Something deeper. "What now?" he asked. "Now," looked at his own screens. "Now we hunt the rest of these mercenaries. Then we find out who sent them. And then, Captain Minyu, the galaxy is going to learn what happens when you threaten the pack." The transmission ended. Minyu sat back in his chair and looked at his crew. They looked back at him with expressions mixing fear, excitement, and determination. "Well," he said quietly, "I think we just changed the galaxy. I hope we are ready for what comes next." Smiled grimly. "The Council is not going to like this." "No," Minyu agreed. "They are really not." Lay on a medical bed in the Defiant's sick bay, and she did not look happy about it. The warrior was nearly 2 meters tall even while lying down, her dark scales reflecting the harsh lights. Human medical equipment beeped around her, trying to make sense of alien biology. Doctor stood beside the bed in hand, looking uncertain. He had been a ship's doctor for 12 years, but he had never treated a before. Nobody had. "Her vital signs are stable," he told Minyu. "At least, I think they are stable. Her heart rate is 3 times normal human range, but that might be normal for her species. Her blood pressure would kill a human, but she seems fine with it." His yellow eyes fixed on the doctor. "I am fine. Let me return to my ship." "You flew a fighter through an explosion," Minyu said from the doorway. "You are staying put until we are sure you are okay. Heal fast, this is nothing. Humor me." Studied him for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, she settled back on the bed. "You are pack leader now, I will obey, but I do not like being weak." "You are not weak, you are injured, there is a difference." "Do not see a difference." Minyu pulled up a chair and sat beside the bed. "Then maybe need to learn. You saved my ship and my crew today. If you had died doing it, that would not make you strong. It would just make you dead. And dead warriors cannot protect their pack. Considered this. You think different from, but maybe not worse, just different." "Different is not bad," Minyu said. "Different is what makes this alliance work. You have strength and courage. We have flexibility and tactics. Together, we are stronger than either species alone." Said the same thing. "He is wise for a warrior." "How long have you served with him?" "Since we were younglings. He saved my life during a cave-in on our home world. I swore to be his bond sister. That was 20 cycles ago." "You are loyal to him." "I am loyal to Pack. That is the way. Now your crew is Pack too. I would die for them as I would die for any." Minyu felt the weight of those words. "Let us try to avoid anyone dying. We have enough enemies already." A message came through on his comm. "Captain to the bridge, priority signal." Minyu stood. "Rest, that is an order from your pack leader." The warrior showed her teeth. "You learn quickly, human." On the bridge had pulled up a wide-range scan. Multiple contacts showed across the display, spreading out in attack formations. "The main mercenary fleet," she explained. 30 ships heading for the human colonies, and look here, the second fleet heading for space. 40 ships. 70 ships total," Lieutenant said quietly. "Even with we cannot fight that many." An incoming transmission appeared on screen, and this time he was not alone. Behind him stood several other, all wearing military insignia. One was massive, even by standards, with white scars covering his scales. "Captain Minyu, this is commander of our home defense fleet. I have told him what happened here today. He wants to speak with you." The large stepped forward. His voice was deep and rough. "Human captain, tells me you warned us of the attack, that you fought beside my warriors, that you protected when she was vulnerable. Is this true?" "Yes, all of it is true." Then the people owe you a great debt. But debt alone does not stop 70 warships. What do you propose we do? Minyu had been thinking about this since the battle ended. We warned our colonies and yours. They are evacuating now. But evacuation takes time. We need to delay those fleets. 2 ships cannot delay 70, said bluntly. No, but we do not have to stop them. We just need to slow them down. Hit and run attacks, guerrilla warfare, make them cautious. Make them check every asteroid field for ambush, every sensor ghost for a trap. Teeth showed, make them afraid. Exactly. And while we delay them, our colonies evacuate to safe systems. When the mercenaries finally arrive, they find empty worlds. No targets, no victory. Was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke to someone off-screen in the language. A discussion followed, brief and intense. Finally turned back. The Council of War has decided. We will commit 5 warships to this plan. They will hunt the fleet approaching space. You and will hunt the fleet approaching human colonies. 5 ships is not many against 40, Minyu said. It is what we can spare while still defending our core worlds. But 5 warships led by good commanders can do much damage. We are not easy prey. No, Minyu agreed, you are not. There is one more thing, human captain. This alliance between our species. It cannot be secret. The galaxy will learn of it. The Council will respond. Are you prepared for that? Minyu thought about Earth, about the colonies, about the millions of humans who had never asked for this war. But he also thought about the mercenary fleets carrying extinction weapons, about a galactic council so afraid of strength that they would commit genocide rather than share power. Yes, he said, we are prepared. Nodded slowly. Then we are allies. May our enemies regret forcing this upon us. The transmission ended. Immediately began coordinating with the ships, sharing tactical data and sensor readings. It was strange watching human and technology work together, but it was working. Captain called. The mercenary fleet just changed course. They detected our communication signals. They know we warned the colonies. Good, Minyu said. Let them know we are here. Let them worry. Over the next 3 days, the combined human force became a nightmare for the mercenaries. They struck from asteroid fields and nebulas. They used power to break enemy formations, then human speed to escape before reinforcements arrived. They laid false sensor trails and fake distress signals, leading mercenary ships into traps. The mercenary fleet slowed from a charge to a crawl. Every system had to be checked. Every piece of debris could hide an ambush. Every sensor contact might be the dangerous alliance waiting to strike. Minyu stood on the bridge after their 7th successful raid, studying the tactical display. The mercenary fleet was still advancing, but at a quarter of their original speed. The colonies would have time to evacuate. Not all of them, but most. Captain, incoming transmission from Earth Command, said, marked highest priority. Admiral's face appeared on screen. She looked tired and angry. Captain Minyu, I have been getting reports that seem impossible. Reports that you have allied with the... Tell me this is not true. I cannot tell you that, Admiral. It is completely true. Closed her eyes for a moment. Do you understand what you have done? The Council has quarantined both our species for decades. Contact was absolutely forbidden, and you just threw all of that away. The Council sent mercenaries to exterminate us, Admiral, all of us. Every colony, every ship, men, women, and children that were targeted too. We warned them and we fought together to survive. I would make the same choice again. I am not questioning your survival instinct, Captain. I am questioning the political consequences. The Council is going to use this as justification for... For what? Minyu interrupted. For trying to genocide us again. They already did that for declaring war. They already sent 70 warships. What worse thing can they possibly do? Was quiet for a moment. You are right, and that is what terrifies me. But orders are coming down from the civilian government. They want to formalize this alliance. They want to make it official. The government wants this. Half of them do. The other half think you have doomed humanity, but the half that wants it includes the president. She is preparing a statement for the Galactic Council right now. Minyu felt the situation shifting beyond his control. This had started as a desperate alliance to survive one battle. Now it was becoming something much larger. What does Earth Command want me to do? Keep delaying that mercenary fleet. Keep working with and prepare yourself, Captain. When we make this alliance public, the galaxy is going to panic. Everyone fears humans. Everyone fears the two of us together. She shook her head. We are about to become the most terrifying thing in known space. The transmission ended. Minyu looked at his crew. They had heard everything. Thoughts? He asked. We are already committed, sir, said. Might as well see it through. The weapons officer shrugged. My family is on one of those colonies we are protecting. If allying with the keeps them alive, then I am all for it. The rest of the crew nodded agreement. They were soldiers. They understood necessity. Another transmission, this time from the looked pleased. Captain Minyu, I have good news. We captured a mercenary commander. After persuasion, he talked. The attack was ordered directly by the Galactic Council. 5 species contributed ships, 10 more contributed funding. They have been planning this for 2 years. 2 years, Minyu repeated. This was not a panic response. This was calculated genocide. Yes, and they did not expect us to work together. They thought we would die separately, never knowing we had a common enemy. Their mistake. What do we do with this information? We send it everywhere, to every news network, every independent world. We show the galaxy what their precious council really is. We show them the extinction weapons, the targeting data on civilian colonies, everything. That will cause chaos. Good. The council has ruled through fear and control for too long. Time for them to feel fear for a change. Minyu made a decision. Do it. Send everything. Let the galaxy see what was done in their name. Over the next hours, the evidence spread across galactic networks. Images of bioweapons designed to sterilize planets, targeting data showing civilian population centers, orders signed by council members calling for total extermination. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Some species defended the council, others condemned it, but nobody could ignore it. The 2 most feared species in the galaxy had nearly been exterminated in secret, and now they were standing together and demanding answers. Minyu watched the news feeds with mixed feelings. They had wanted to survive. Now they had started something much bigger, a political earthquake that would reshape the galaxy. Captain said quietly, the mercenary fleets are withdrawing, all of them. They just received new orders to return to Council space. The Council is backing down. For now, but this is not over. No, Minyu agreed. This is just beginning. His face appeared on screen one more time. Captain Minyu wants to meet with you and your government representatives, in person. He wants to formalize our alliance with proper ceremony and law. They want a treaty. We want more than a treaty. We want brotherhood. We want permanent alliance. Your species and ours standing together against any threat. What do you say? Minyu thought about the battles they had fought, about risking her life to save his ship, about fighting side by side with warriors who should have been enemies but became something else, something better. Yes, he said, let us make it official. Let us show the galaxy what happens when the 2 deadliest species stop fighting each other and start fighting together. Then prepare your ship, Captain. You are going to home world, not as an enemy, not as a stranger, but as honored pack, as family. The transmission ended. Minyu sat in his chair and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Galactic Council was scrambling to respond. Somewhere out there, other species were watching in fear and wonder. And somewhere out there, history was changing. The two deadliest species in the galaxy had joined up, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming next. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. 47 species, each with their own delegation, shouted over each other in a dozen languages. Translator devices struggled to keep up with the arguments. At the center of it all stood Council Speaker, a tall creature who had maintained order for 30 years. Today, he could barely make himself heard. "Order," he clicked, his voice amplified across the chamber. "We must have order." Slowly, the noise died down. Delegates returned to their seats, though anger still showed on every face. "The evidence is clear," said, his voice heavy. "The attack on human and territories was authorized by members of this council. 5 species contributed warships. 10 more provided funding. This was done in secret without full council approval." "It was necessary," shouted the ambassador, rising from his seat. "Humans are dangerous. They refuse to follow council law. They expand without permission. They arm themselves without limit. What choice did we have?" "You had the choice not to commit genocide," the representative said quietly. She was small and peaceful-looking, which made her words cut deeper. "You could have tried diplomacy. You could have tried understanding. Instead, you tried extermination, and you failed." "Failed is putting it lightly," another delegate said. "Not only did the attack fail, but now the two most dangerous species in the galaxy are united against us. What happens when they decide to seek revenge?" That question silenced the chamber. Everyone had seen the tactical reports. The mercenary fleets had been torn apart by just 2 ships working together. What would happen when entire human and armadas coordinated their efforts? "We must act quickly," said, "before they can formalize their alliance, before they can combine their military strength. We must." "We must do nothing," they interrupted. "We must apologize, we must seek peace." "Peace?" The ambassador laughed harshly. They do not know the meaning of peace. They only understand strength and violence." "And humans are no better," added the delegate. "They have fought wars across their own planet for thousands of years. War is in their nature." Raised his hands for silence again. "Regardless of what we believe about these species, we must deal with the reality before us. They know we tried to exterminate them. They have evidence. They have shared it across the galaxy. Our reputation is damaged. Our authority is questioned. We must respond." "I propose immediate military action," they said. "Assemble the Grand Armada. Every council species contributes ships. We show them overwhelming force. We force them to back down." "And if they do not back down," they asked, "then we have started a war we might not win." "Impossible. We have 47 species. They have 2. 2 species that nearly destroyed a mercenary fleet with just a handful of ships. 2 species that learn and adapt faster than any other known life forms. 2 species that, according to every historical record, never surrender." The chamber fell silent again. Everyone knew the stories. Humans who fought on despite impossible odds, who considered death in battle an honor. Neither species had ever been conquered. Quarantined, yes. Contained sometimes, but never defeated. "What if we offered them a compromise?" suggested a delegate from the consortium. "Limited membership in the council, trading rights, diplomatic recognition, but they must agree to weapon restrictions and population controls." "They will never accept," said. "Humans value freedom above all else, value strength. Restrictions on either would be seen as insults." "Then what do you suggest?" Council Speaker was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. "We prepare for war, but we also prepare for peace. We assemble the Grand Armada as a show of strength, but we also send diplomatic envoys. We offer them a choice. Join the Council as full members with full rights, or face the combined military might of 47 species." "That is essentially a threat," they pointed out. "Yes," agreed, "but it is a threat with an escape route. If they are smart, they will take it. And if they are not?" Then we pray to whatever gods we believe in. Because a war with humanity, and that will be unlike anything the galaxy has seen in 1,000 years. The council voted. 30 species supported the plan, 15 opposed, 2 abstained. It was enough. Orders went out across council space. Every species was required to contribute ships to the Grand Armada. The largest military fleet in recorded history would assemble within 1 month. Its mission: force the human alliance to submit or destroy it. Far from council space, on the home world of very different preparations were. Minyu stood on a landing platform, watching human ships arrive alongside vessels. The cooperation was still new and awkward, but it was happening. Human cruisers docked next to warships. Engineers from both species worked together on joint projects. Soldiers trained side by side. "Your people learn quickly," said, standing beside him. The massive warrior had become Minyu's unofficial guide to culture. 3 weeks ago they could not speak our language. Now they share jokes with soldiers. "Humans adapt," Minyu said. "It is what we do best." "Respect that. Strength alone is not enough. Intelligence matters too." A shuttle landed nearby. The doors opened and President stepped out, flanked by her security team. She was young for a human leader, barely 50, but her eyes held decades of experience. Minyu saluted. "Madam President." "Captain Minyu, the man who started all of this." She smiled slightly. "I should be angry with you. You have thrown our entire species into the biggest crisis since we left Earth, but I cannot be angry with the man who saved our colonies. I just did what was necessary, ma'am. And that is why I am putting you in command of our combined forces. You understand they trust you. That is worth more than any military rank." Minyu started to protest but held up her hand. "This is not a request, Captain. As of now, you are Admiral Minyu, Joint Commander of Human Forces in the Allied Fleet. Congratulations." Before Minyu could respond, a group of approached, led them with at his side. Behind them came dozens of warriors, all in ceremonial armor. "President," said, his rough voice speaking surprisingly good human language. "Welcome to. The Council wishes to meet with you, to make our alliance official." "I am honored. Lead the way." The ceremony took place in the Great Hall, a massive structure carved from living rock. Thousands have filled the space, along with hundreds of humans who had arrived as diplomats, observers, and military advisors. Stood at the center, his form impressive even among other. President stood beside him, looking small but unafraid. "We gather today to forge a bond between species," announced, his voice carrying through the hall. "Humans and have been kept apart by the Council's laws. They called us dangerous. They called us violent. They tried to make us enemies. But when faced with extermination, we chose a different path. We chose alliance. The people recognize humans as worthy pack. We share our strength with you. We share our loyalty with you. We will fight beside you. We will protect you. And in return, we ask only that you do the same for us." President stepped forward. "The human species accepts this bond. We offer our knowledge, our adaptability, and our determination. We stand with the not out of fear, but out of respect. Together, we will show the galaxy that cooperation is stronger than control." The ceremony continued for hours. Treaties were signed. Military cooperation agreements finalized. Trade routes established. Cultural exchange programs created. By the end, what had started as a desperate alliance to survive had become something real and lasting. But even as they celebrated, reports came in from the border. Now promoted to commander, brought the data to Minyu during a brief break in ceremonies. "Sir, long-range sensors are detecting massive fleet movements. 47 species are mobilizing. Thousands of ships. They are assembling in the Nexus system." Minyu studied the data, the Grand Armada. Even expecting it, the scale was terrifying. "How long until they reach us?" "At current speed, 2 weeks, but sir, look at this." She highlighted part of the data. They are not moving in attack formation. It looks more like a show of force. They are trying to intimidate us. Will it work? Smiled grimly. The do not intimidate easily, and neither do we. Minyu found and showed him the data. The studied it without expression. Thousands of ships, said finally. They mean to frighten us into surrender. Will it work? No, but it means war is coming. Real war, not skirmishes with mercenaries. Full-scale conflict. Can we win? Showed his teeth. Do not think about winning. We think about fighting, about protecting Pac, about standing strong against any threat. Victory will come or it will not, but we will not bow. That is not very reassuring. It is not meant to be reassuring. It is meant to be true. Minyu called an emergency meeting with President and the top military commanders from both species. They gathered in a secure command center deep beneath the Great Hall. The Grand Armada, Minyu said, projecting the tactical data. The largest fleet ever assembled. If they attack, we cannot win through conventional warfare. Then we fight unconventionally, said. Hit and run, guerrilla tactics, make them afraid to advance. That will delay them, not stop them, President pointed out. We do not need to stop them, Minyu said slowly, an idea forming. We need to make them stop themselves. Everyone looked at him. He brought up different data, showing Council member worlds. The Council is forcing every species to contribute ships, but not all of them want this war. Some oppose the vote. Some are only participating because they fear the Council's retaliation if they refuse. What if we contacted them directly? The Council will block all communications, said. Official communications, yes. But what about unofficial ones? What about smugglers, traders, independent news networks? We flood the galaxy with our side of the story. We show them the extinction weapons that were going to be used on civilian targets. We show them the cooperation between our species. We make people question whether the Council is protecting them or controlling them. Spoke up. You wish to divide the enemy from within, make them fight each other instead of us. Exactly. The Council's power comes from unity. If we break that unity, the Grand Armada becomes just a bunch of ships with no common purpose. President nodded slowly. It is risky. It might not work, but it is better than a straight fight we cannot win. There is another element added. We send the Armada an offer, a challenge in tradition. We propose single combat between champions, their best warrior against ours. Winner decides terms of peace. They will never accept that, Minyu said. No, they will not, but it makes us look reasonable. It makes them look afraid. More division, more doubt. Laughed a deep rumbling sound. Clever, very clever. This is why humans and together are dangerous. You think of tricks. We provide the courage to back them up. Over the next week, the plan went into motion. Encrypted messages went to every independent news network. Evidence of Council crimes spread like wildfire. Interviews with Minyu and showed reasonable leaders seeking peace, not war. The formal challenge was sent to the Council, along with detailed peace terms. As predicted, they rejected it. But the rejection was seen across the galaxy, and many questioned why the Council feared single combat if they were so certain of their righteousness. Meanwhile, the Grand Armada assembled and began its march toward human and space. Thousands of ships moving in formation, an overwhelming force meant to crush any resistance. But as they advanced, cracks began to show. 3 species their ships, citing internal political issues. 5 more reduced their commitment, sending only token forces. Independent worlds started asking questions. Why was this war necessary? Who would benefit from it? What would happen after the humans and were defeated? The Council tried to maintain control, but the damage was done. Doubt had been planted. Unity was fracturing. Minyu watched it all from the command center on. The Grand Armada was still coming, still dangerous. But it was no longer the unstoppable force it had been meant to be. Will it be enough? President asked, standing beside him. I do not know, Minyu admitted, but we have given ourselves a chance. That is all anyone can ask for. And if they attack anyway, then we fight, humans and side by side. We make them regret ever threatening us. We show them that the two deadliest species in the galaxy are deadliest together. Join them at his side as always. The forward elements of the Armada will reach our border in 3 days. After that, it begins. Are your people ready? Minyu asked. Are always ready. The question is, are yours? Minyu thought about the colonists they had saved, the children who were still alive because of the alliance, the future that was still possible. Yes, he said, we are ready. Good, because when the galaxy looks back on this moment, they will remember one thing. They will remember that when they tried to destroy us, we did not fall. We did not break. We stood together, and we changed everything. The 3 days passed like hours, and when the Grand Armada arrived at the border, both sides held their breath, waiting to see if this would end in peace or in the largest war the galaxy had ever known. The Grand Armada hung in space like a metal storm, thousands of ships from 44 species arranged in perfect formations. Their weapons were charged, their shields were active, they looked unstoppable. On the other side of the border, the combined human fleet looked tiny by comparison. 200 human vessels, 300 warships, against an armada that numbered in the thousands. Admiral Minyu stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned flagship Unity, a ship built by both species working together. Half the crew was human, half was. The design combined human adaptability with durability. It was a symbol of what they had become. Status report, Minyu ordered. The Armada has stopped at the border, Commander reported. They are holding position, no aggressive movements. They are waiting, said from his station. The Had insisted on serving on the bridge during this critical moment. Waiting for us to attack first, maybe, or waiting for orders from the Council. How long do we wait? Asked. She had recovered from her injuries and now served as the ship's tactical coordinator, a position that combined both species' combat doctrines. As long as it takes, Minyu said. We do not fire first. We are not the aggressors here. An incoming transmission. Council speaker appeared on screen, flanked by representatives from a dozen species. Admiral Minyu, I am authorized to make you an offer. We are listening, Minyu said neutrally. The Galactic Council will grant your alliance recognition. You will have full trading rights, diplomatic status, and protection under Council law. In exchange, you will submit to Council authority. Your military will be limited to defensive forces only. Your expansion will be regulated. You will accept Council observers on your worlds. In other words, growled, we surrender our independence for the privilege of being controlled by those who tried to exterminate us. The Council acted rashly, admitted. Some members went too far, but the Council itself remains the best hope for galactic peace and stability. Your peace required our extinction, Minyu said. Your stability required our submission. We reject your offer. Then you choose war against this, gestured to the Armada behind him. You cannot win. Perhaps not, but we will not lose alone. Tell me, Council Speaker, how many of those ships out there truly want to fight this war? How many are only here because their governments forced them? How many will actually pull the trigger when the time comes? His expression darkened. Do not test us, Admiral. I am not testing anyone. I am stating facts. You gathered this armada to frighten us into surrender, but we are not afraid. And every day you keep these ships here, every day you delay, your unity crumbles a little more. Before could respond, alarms sounded across both fleets. New contacts appeared on sensors, ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel, dozens of them, then hundreds. Identify those ships, Minyu ordered. Worked frantically at her console. Sir, they are from Council member species, but they are not joining the Armada. They are broadcasting neutrality declarations. They are refusing to participate in the war. More ships appeared. Independent merchants, civilian transports, news vessels. They positioned themselves between the two fleets, creating a barrier of neutral observers. "What is happening?" asked. "Our information campaign," Minyu said, barely believing it. "It worked. People saw the evidence. They questioned their governments, and some of them decided they did not want this war." On the screen, looked stunned. His carefully assembled armada was being undermined by his own member species. "This is unacceptable," he shouted. "Those ships are violating Council orders." "No," a new voice said. A ship from the delegation broke formation and moved to join the neutral vessels. "They are exercising their freedom, a freedom the Council claims to protect but rarely respects." More ships followed. The Consortium, the Union, species that had opposed the vote from the beginning now openly defying it. The Grand Armada was fracturing before anyone fired a shot. "Council Speaker," Minyu said calmly, "you can order those remaining ships to attack us. Some will obey, maybe enough to destroy our fleet, but you will lose the Council in the process. Is that worth it?" Stared at him with something like hatred, but also with calculation. The Council Speaker had not maintained power for 30 years by being stupid. "What do you propose instead?" "Negotiation, real negotiation, not demands or ultimatums. We sit down together, humans, Council representatives, we create a new agreement, one that respects everyone's sovereignty. The Council will never accept being dictated to by." "We are not dictating anything," President said, appearing on screen from her ship. "We are offering an alternative. The old Council system is broken. You know it. We know it. Half the galaxy knows it, so we build something better." "Like what?" asked bitterly. "A free coalition. Species join voluntarily. No forced contributions. No mandatory military service. Just mutual defense and free trade. Anyone can leave if they want. Anyone can join if they meet basic standards." "That is chaos. That is anarchy." "No," said his massive form appearing beside. "That is freedom. Something the Council has forgotten the meaning of." The communication channel was silent for a long moment. In that silence, more ships defected from the Armada. The formation was falling apart, ship by ship, species by species. Finally spoke. "I will convene an emergency council session. We will discuss your proposal, but I make no promises." "That is all we ask," Minyu said. "A chance to talk instead of fight." The transmission ended. On the bridge of the Unity, the crew allowed themselves to breathe. "Did that just work?" asked. "I think it did," Minyu said. "I think we just avoided a war." "Not avoided," corrected. "Won. We won without firing a shot. That is the best kind of victory." Over the next 3 weeks, negotiations took place on a neutral station. Every day brought new challenges, new arguments, new conflicts. But every day also brought progress. The Council divided between who wanted to maintain control and progressives who saw the need for change. Eventually, the progressives won, but barely. The agreement that emerged shocked the galaxy. The Galactic Council would dissolve. In its place would rise the Free Worlds Coalition. Membership was voluntary. Military contributions were voluntary. Every member had equal voting rights, regardless of size or power. Humans and would-be founding members, along with 23 former Council species. The others would join over time or stay independent. It was their choice. The species, led by the, refused to join. They formed their own alliance, the Sovereign Systems Compact. They vowed never to cooperate with humans or let them isolate themselves, President said at the final signing ceremony. They will learn in time that walls keep you in as much as they keep others out. 5 years passed. Admiral Minyu sat in a small on the home world, sipping tea that tasted like liquid metal but somehow was pleasant. Across from him sat Retired, working on a plate of spiced meat. "I still cannot believe we actually did it," Minyu said. "Which part? Stopped the extermination, formed an alliance, changed the galaxy," showed his teeth in what Minyu had learned was a genuine smile. "We did many impossible things. All of them. 5 years ago I was just a survey ship captain. Now I am, whatever I am. You are pack leader. That is all that matters too. The rest is just titles." Minyu watched the street outside. Humans and walked together, not as enemies, not even as allies really, just as people living their lives. Children of both species played together in a nearby park. A human merchant argued prices with a trader, both enjoying the negotiation. "Do you think the sovereign systems will ever join the coalition?" Minyu asked. "Eventually. Maybe not in our lifetime, but their children will see reason. Isolation is a slow death. They will realize that before the end." "And the council? Do you ever wonder if we made a mistake tearing it down?" Put down his food and looked at Minyu seriously. "The council tried to commit genocide against both our species. They ruled through fear and control. They claimed to bring peace but really brought submission. Was it a mistake to end that? No, it was justice." A message came through on Minyu's communicator. "Commander, now captain of her own exploration vessel. Admiral, we have made first contact with a new species in the Outer Rim. They are calling themselves the... They seem advanced and potentially aggressive." "Are they threatening?" Minyu asked. "They have demanded we leave their space immediately or face consequences." Minyu sighed. "Patch me through." A reptilian face appeared on the communicator screen. Not like, but similar enough to be startling. "I am Admiral Minyu of the Free Worlds Coalition. We mean you no harm. We were simply exploring this region. This is space. You will leave or we will force you to leave." "We can leave, that is fine, but before we do I want you to know something. The Coalition includes 46 species. We have humans who never surrender. We have who never forgive an insult. We have dozens of others, each with their own strengths. We are not your enemy, but we can be if you force us to be, or you can talk with us, learn about us, maybe even join us." The leader paused. "You offer us membership just like that?" "Not just like that. You would need to meet our standards. No slavery, no genocide, respect for basic rights. But if you qualify, yes, we would welcome you. And if we refuse, then we leave. We mark your space as occupied and avoid it. You want to be alone? Fine, be alone. But if you attack our ships, if you threaten our people, then you face all of us. Ask the old Galactic Council how that worked out." The leader's expression changed. Clearly, they had heard stories about the Council's fall. "We will consider your offer," the alien said carefully. "Perhaps we can talk more, in neutral space. Whenever you are ready. We are not going anywhere." The transmission ended. Minyu looked at who was grinning widely. "You are getting good at this. Very smooth, very diplomatic." "I learned from the best," Minyu said. "A wise once told me that strength without intelligence is just violence. Intelligence without strength is just words. But combine them and you can change the galaxy." "I never said that." "No, but did, and he was right." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the blended society they had helped create. It was not perfect. There were still conflicts, still misunderstandings, still species that refused to cooperate. But it was better than before, better than enforced peace, better than fear-based control. "Minyu said suddenly, "Do you regret any of it, all the changes, all the chaos we caused?" Minyu thought about the question seriously, about the mercenary fleet that had started it all, about the desperate alliance in an asteroid field, about the battles fought and the friendships forged. "No," he said finally, "we did what was right, not what was easy but what was right, and that is something I can live with." "Good, because the galaxy still needs us, still needs humans and working together. The threats are not over. The challenges are not finished. I know, but we are ready for them. Yes, we are. Far across the galaxy on a remote station, an emergency meeting was taking place. Species that had once been enemies. Species that had once feared each other. Species that were learning, slowly and painfully, that cooperation was stronger than conflict. The Free World's coalition was young. It was messy. It was chaotic and loud and sometimes frustrating beyond measure. But it was also free. It was also fair. And it was also growing one member at a time, one alliance at a time, one friendship at a time. The two deadliest species in the galaxy had joined forces. The galaxy had panicked. And then, to everyone's surprise, the galaxy had changed. Not through conquest, not through force. Through choice. And that made all the difference. Years later, when historians looked back on this period, they would call it the Great Transition, the moment when the galaxy moved from enforced order to voluntary cooperation, when diversity became strength instead of threat. But those who lived through it called it something simpler. They called it freedom. And freedom, as humans and had proven, was worth fighting for. The story of how the two deadliest species joined up and changed everything was far from over. It was still being written, every day, by humans and dozens of other species working together. But the hardest part was done. The impossible had been achieved. The rest was just living up to it. And if there was one thing humans were good at, it was exceeding expectations.